Hello, it is Foundation Friday, September 24th, 2021. Steve Sipress here with another in our multi-part series on the fantastic book, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David J. Schwartz. I highly recommend you get your copy and reread it over and over and over again until it all becomes second nature. You'll not only be thinking bigger, you'll be acting bigger, and you'll be succeeding a lot bigger than you are now and possibly than anyone could ever imagine you doing. That's what happened when I started putting this stuff to use over 30 years ago. When someone handed me a copy of the book, I could not believe, and people that knew me could not believe, the transformation that was happening. Anyway, let's get right to it. This time we're in the chapter of how to think big, and Dr. Schwartz is sharing with us the fact that many potentially powerful people let petty, small, insignificant things block their way to achievement. And he gives a few examples. The first one is about public speaking. And he gives the example, and then he says the real test of a speaker is not did he or she stand straight or make any mistakes in grammar, but instead it's all about did the audience get the points that the speaker wanted to put across. Most of our top speakers have petty defects. Some of them even have unpleasant voices. Some of the most sought-after speakers in America would flunk a speech course taught by the old negative don't do this and don't do that method, where people get up on stage and concentrate on, make sure I have eye contact and don't move my hands and don't repeat myself and don't forget this and that. Fill your head with all that negative thinking. Of course, you're a mess. But all these most successful public speakers do have one thing in common. They have something to say and they feel a burning desire for other people to hear it. So do not let concern with trivia keep you from speaking successfully in public. You know, the same thing happens with singers. I mean, there's so many of the most popular, best-selling singers of all time. I always laugh because they would get voted off the American Idol show or The Voice or whatever these singing shows are. They'd get voted off immediately. Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty. These people, like, technically their voice sounds horrible. It doesn't sound some pristine, beautiful voice. They might get voted off right away, yet together those three have sold, billions and billions of dollars worth of music. Anyway, next, what causes arguments? Ever stop to ask yourself just what causes quarrels? At least 99% of the time, quarrels start over petty, unimportant matters, and then they escalate and they get out of control. So here's a technique that works. Before complaining or accusing or reprimanding someone or launching a counterattack in self-defense, just ask yourself, is this really important? In most cases, it isn't. And then you avoid the conflict. So when you feel like taking negative action, just ask yourself, is it really important? That question works magic in building a finer home situation. It works at the office. It works in homegoing traffic. When another driver cuts in ahead of you, it works in any situation in life that is apt to produce quarrels. Third example is the case of a young executive getting assigned to what he thought was a small office. There were 4 people promoted at the same time, and he got the smallest office out of the 4 of them. So right away he turned all negative and felt sorry for himself and thought that all meant something. And that resentment turned to him not performing to his best and kind of fizzling out on the company. So as Dr. Schwartz points out, small thinking over a very small matter stopped him. In his haste to feel that he was discriminated against, he failed to observe that the company was expanding rapidly. Office space was at a premium. He didn't stop to consider that the executive made the office assignments, didn't even know which one was the smallest. No one in the organization except this guy regarded his office as an index of his value. Small thinking about unimportant things like seeing your name last on the end of a copied email or an invitation list or whatever can really mess you up. So think big, and none of these little things can hold you back. You know, just because you see your name last as the CC in an email, you start thinking like, oh, did they really not even, or tagged on a social media post, did they really, not want to not think of me right away? How come they thought of that person first and then not me? I must not be as well. Cut it out. Maybe who knows? Maybe an assistant did it, doesn't even know who the people are. Maybe they did it by the most recent friend request they had, or who's first on a certain list that's alphabetical, or by who knows what. Like, stop reading negative things into things unnecessarily. And the last example he gives is of someone with a big stutter came in his office for a sales job, and right away he dismissed him in his mind and went through the motions. But he says, man, by the end of the interview, I realized this guy was intelligent and resourceful and driven and goal-oriented and really good with people. He just happened to have a stutter. I gave him a shot. Guy was selling like crazy. So those are 4 examples of how you can overcome the knee-jerk reaction to take something that's trivial, unimportant, really not a big thing in the big scheme of things, and let it all blow up into all kinds of big negative things that hurt you and stop you from going where you want to go and building relationships with the people you want to build relationships with, and so on and so on and so on. So next time you have any thought of something negative and you want to make a big deal out of it, just think to yourself, is this really a big deal? Could it possibly not be something personal against me and just happen to be a certain thing? Can life just go on and we forget about it and we move on? A real advanced way is to use it as a motivator. Say, wow, I'm last on the list of the invites to this event. I'll show them. I'll overperform like crazy, and I'll make sure I'm the first name on the invite list next time. But either way, think big and don't let little things trip you up. And that'll do it for Foundation Friday, September 24th, 2021. I'll be back with you again tomorrow on Social Media Saturday. I will catch you then. Over and out. Bye-bye.